Evan Ginzburg with another edition of Evan Ginzburg's Legends TV, a very special edition as we bring on Australia's The Initiative. And I'm going to let my beloved co-host, Steve Ludwig, our Sid Bernstein brought in the Beatles. Steve arranged this. Please introduce our guest.
Thank you, beloved host,
There
Evan
you
Ginzburg.
go. There you go.
Sid Bernstein has passed away, but I'll try to bring a little life into the proceedings here. Now, this is the American TV debut of The Initiative, or so we thought. I did a little research. And actually, The Initiative, back in February of '64, they followed the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show.
That's right.
But so many people had fainted that they missed
That's right.
The Initiative, unless Wikipedia was wrong. You can never really trust Wikipedia. But anyway, we'll call this the official American TV debut of The Initiative. And, you and I, Evan, we heard about The Initiative from everyone's friend, Jeff Brown.
That's right. Jeff Brown, who's like a super fan, super supporter. We need 5,000 Jeff Browns. That's what we all need, right?
Why don't we introduce,
Steve,
shall we?
do the honors.
We have Joe Mandica, the leader of The Initiative, producer, writer, multi-instrumentalist, two brilliant singers. Joe's a brilliant singer in his own right. We have Grace Marino and Mr. Nino Bizignano. Good one now. First time on the radio, on my radio show, Grace corrected me in the pronunciation of your last name. Okay, thank you, Nino.
So Steve, why don't you open up?
Yeah, like I said, we had a friend of ours, of all of ours, Jeff Brown, had come over from Australia, and we had the show's, your Legends TV show, official opening party at Red 57 in New York City. Friend of yours, Jeff Brown, gave us the Initiative CD. Listened to them, and I said, this is the greatest pop rock music I've heard in years and years and years. So one thing led to another. I had Joe, Grace, and Nino on my radio show. You had them on yours, Joe on yours, and the other members of the Initiative. And then I said, these guys are fantastic. And as everybody's going to hear later on with our live set, I mean, the voices are just incredible. I said on the first show, there's not a clunker in the group, Evan, which means every song is top notch. Right.
That's right. But
no clunkers. No clunkers. Maybe, Joe, why don't you let us know how the Initiative came about? And you have different singers for different tracks.
The Initiative came about with a lot of the musicians and singers that I work with on different levels at my gigs. And we all got to know each other, and I was slowly putting together some music for a new album of my own. And I thought it'd be much more interesting if I had other singers interpreting some of the songs. And we just started slowly recording some of the different artists. And one by one, we were ticking the boxes. And Grace did her song, and all of a sudden we had a sound. And Nino came along and did his song, and we had another sound, and so forth, till the whole thing came together, and we realised we had a whole album of different genres, different voices, but basically something that tied it all together. And it became The Initiative. And they're all friends, and even the new guys on the albums, all the musicians are all friends as well. So awesome.
How did you meet first with Grace, and how did you meet Nino? With Grace first.
Yeah, Grace, I met at a fundraiser for breast cancer. I was asked to come and do a few songs to help raise a bit of money, and Grace was already there with the band singing, so I was filling in. And we started singing together, and it was like, we'd known each other for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
We just worked very well together, and we started to do a few gigs together. And then Grace was prodding me, saying, when are you going to let me sing one of your songs on the album? And I said, well, you need to earn your stripes first. And she certainly has. And that's where, and we're down, nearly 2 years?
Yeah, I think over the 2 years now.
Yeah. And we work regularly together, so that's a real pleasure. And Nino, I've known for, I keep saying 7, 8, 9, 10 years maybe, at my gigs. Nino's the guy that gets everyone happening at the gigs. Come on, get up and dance. Gets all the girls up, and he likes to sing, and he's always singing along in the background, and you can hear him sing. And he's a great singer, and he sings, he's got a real unique sort of sound. And I think we got him up to do a song one day, and lots of people at gigs get up and do songs, and it's not very good.
Right.
But this guy can sing, and it was like, oh yeah, this is good. So anyway, one song at a gig led to a couple of songs, and then a few songs, and then people in the audience started asking for Nino to sing a song, to the point where at the end of the gig they come and ask Nino, when, what do they say?
When are you guys on next?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think it's a year. And I asked him if he'd like to be on the album, and Nino hadn't been in the studio before, and I think he was quite surprised that I asked him, but when you hear the result, it's like he's been doing this for a long, long time.
Mm. How about you, Grace? When did you start singing? Your voice is exquisite.
I've been singing all my life, basically, but I think about over 10 years ago now. That's when I sort of, my husband actually heard me for the first time, and he was the one that said, "Come on, you've got to do this. You need to be out there."
You finally got him to listen to you?
Yeah, I did actually. Yes, and he basically, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'll do it. I'll get you out there, and one after another, I got to meet Joe, and here I am today.
And how about you, Nino? I mean, you're, like Grace and Joe, you're a natural in the studio, but
So complimentary,
as long as the check doesn't bounce, Nino, well, I'll keep saying these things. No.
Well, this is not what I do for a living. I'm actually in the construction industry, but as like Joe said, he asked me to sing a song, and which I'm very grateful for, by the way, because it's led me to be here in America and be part of the show.
That's right.
Right.
From New York to Australia and everywhere in between, this is worldwide internet TV, and this is a big day for all of us. We're so honored to have you here on the other side of the world. Steve was telling me that in Australia, people are walking upside down. Is there any truth to that? Because it's the other side of the world.
Yeah.
It must be true. And Steve had an important question about toilets in Australia.
Yeah, well, first of all, where we film here, it's close to Flushing, New York, though.
That's right.
So I think it fits. And Jeff Brown kind of gave us an answer, but when you flush a toilet in Australia, does it really go the opposite way?
Didn't I tell you that last night?
Yes.
I made that
Yeah.
observation myself. Nothing else to do for the
But
night.
has
So
it
I see. You just
the
watched
hemisphere,
it.
has
yeah,
it?
got nothing else to do for that night, so I observed
You just
flushing
checked out the
yes.
toilet. Yeah. So it is true.
Yes, it's
See?
anti-clockwise. Yeah?
See, we ask the important questions
Yeah.
here on Legends TV. We get right to the source.
Yes.
That's right. And later in the show, we're going to have a live set. We're going to see videos, and it's really 90 minutes with the initiative. And you're going to be joined later by comedian John Shea, so it's going to be even more fun.
And there are even 5 other people in the initiative.
That's
This
right. Tell us about them.
Yeah.
Yes, way back home in Australia, hopefully tuned in, sitting on the couch. We have a young singer named Fortunato Isgro. He's in Brisbane, Australia, and he is featured on the album. He does 3 tracks, and he's got a really strong pop voice. He's a real pop
Yeah.
type of
Really.
sound that he contributes fantastically, and he's a great vocalist, and that's one of the artists. We also have Marty Penrose, or Martin Penrose, who originally I met. He did a Roy Orbison. He's one of Australia's top Roy Orbison tribute artists, and he's got a fantastic voice in his own right as well. And he's on the album. He does a duet with myself and his own song as well with his daughter, Taylor Penrose. And she's only 19, I think, 19 years of age.
Yeah.
And she's got a very young, how can I put it, very young, can I say, Beyonce type voice.
Okay.
And that adds another flavour to the album. And the final artist is Natalie and her husband Zachary Wilsh, who is my daughter and son-in-law. So,
All right.
and they're on the album, contributing one track. And look, we put it all together, and sometimes, as Steve said, you get a clunker or 2 on there, but we find that different people like different songs on the album, and they'll say, yeah, we like Nino's song, or we like Grace's song, and then a week later they'll say, you know, I was listening to the whole album, and I just like the whole album now. So we're really pleased that it's like having an iTunes playlist where
Right.
you've got all your favourite tracks in one spot.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier, Joe. There's so many different genres of music on this one CD. It's really enjoyable from start to finish.
Thank you.
There you go. And what we're going to do is, after a brief commercial break, we're going to see some of your videos.
Right.
But before we do that, tell everybody how they could get in touch with you, how they could pick up the album, and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Well, we're on Facebook under the Initiative, JM, but just look up the Initiative. Grace Marino is on Facebook. Nino's on Facebook. All the teams on Facebook.
And,
Say
and give
hello.
out some of the spellings, because Nino's name is tough. Yeah.
Well,
N-I-N-O.
I'll ask Nino to spell it.
Yeah, I figured that one out.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook now, aren't I?
You are?
Yes,
Yeah, in
you
the
are.
last
That's
4
right.
weeks, this new thing that I've discovered.
right.
Nino's name is on Facebook,
Yeah,
at least.
that's right.
And spell your last name.
It's Bisignano.
Okay.
That's the surname.
And Steve, plug classic pop culture.
Oh, well, thanks. Every Tuesday, planetludwig.com. We have Louise Harrison, George Harrison's sister, on this Tuesday. Mm-hmm.
That's good.
That's impressive.
Royalty, rock royalty.
Rock Royalty is the only full-fledged Beatle sister.
Wow.
And Grace, you have a Facebook page as well.
I certainly do. Yep, Grace Marino.
And yeah, you can purchase the album by download on iTunes or Amazon, or just write to us on Facebook. And happy to get a hard copy to you.
All right. And I want to do a brief birthday shout out to my beloved wife, Hong, from Korea. And I just want to say something very briefly. There's a lot of anti-immigrant sentiment in America post 9/11. And you have to understand how hard it is to have one foot in one country, family, responsibilities in another country as well. It's very difficult, folks. So, try to be open to America as a country of immigrants. Immigrants help build this country, and I am experiencing firsthand, the difficulties that immigrants experience, and they work hard for the most part, and they add to this country, they build this country, and I just want to say to my wife, Hong, I love you very much. Happy birthday. And we're going to take a very brief time out, and when we come back, we're going to hear the video, hear and see the videos of the initiative. Don't go anywhere, folks.
I can't get your face off my mind. Every little thing you do to me, girl. Anymore. Get it together like you do. Survive.
Hi, I'm Tom Mealy from Madhouse TV.
And I am Tommy Marr, also from Madhouse TV.
You can see, hey, listen, guys, we're in New York. I don't know if you can see out the window behind us, but I guess this event that we have for Janine's,
ALS.
yeah, but it's for Janine's
Uncle Hobby.
on ALS, the Vermont Veterans Home 0.5 mile
Which everybody can
family
do.
walk to help find a cure for ALS. And it's coming out Saturday, October 18th, registration at 12 o'clock, kickoff at 1:30.
And where it's going to be is at the Vermont Veterans Home at 325 North Bennington, Vermont 05201. And it kicks off, like Tommy said, at 1:30, registration at noon. And if you want to call Christina, call her at 802-447-2792. 802-447-2792. We here at Madhouse, we support anybody that needs help. And it's something we've always done, right, Tom? And we're here in New York, and we're trying to get it out to Vermont. Everybody in Vermont, do your thing. It's for a great cause. It's a half a mile. Everybody can do a half a mile. And like Tom and I just did the ALS, we got drenched outside here in the parking lot of the studio when it was cold with buckets of ice. But maybe you guys can do yours with some sneakers. It's a lot drier.
You know, ALS is a debilitating disease, and I think it's something that everybody's got to get involved in to help find this cure. And I've always said from day one that we can't do it without the help of the average person out there. And, you know, to walk less than a mile, a half a mile is a little ridiculous. And if you can put those sneakers on and walk that half a mile and help bring a cure by fundraising to this disease, then you know what, it really is worth it. I think that we have to step up to the plate. I know here at Madhouse TV, you know, we're actually honored to be able to do this commercial for you folks out there. So get down there Saturday, October 18th, you know, at 12 o'clock.
And there is going to be live music, family fun, refreshments, the Vermont Arts Exchange, and there's going to be an art bus there. Lots to do. Bring the kids. Bring everybody. It's for a great cause. And Uncle Harvey, we're going to dedicate this to you, from Madhouse to you and your lovely niece, Janine. So God
All right,
bless
guys.
you. And get your sneakers on
Make
and
it
walk
happen.
for ALS.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
All right, and we are back. And once again, what an honor it is to have a band hop on a plane, travel literally around the world. We are thrilled and honored to have the initiative here in New York. And I must ask this question. One of my favorite shows, which you may or may not have in Australia, is Unsung, in which bands, R&B bands generally, occasionally they have hip-hop, it's 1 hour documentaries. Inevitably, the bands disintegrate. You know, they have different financial issues, different creative issues, different personal issues, and sometimes they even shoot each other, okay? So literally shoot each other. So my question is, you're juggling, I believe, 8 different people in the initiative? 8, did you say?
Pretty much, well, 7 vocalists, but there's band members, and there's quite a team of people.
So how do you do it? Because you guys all seem to be getting along great. You're traveling, you're sightseeing. How do you juggle it all?
Life's good so far.
Well, I think because we've known each other, some of us have known each other a little bit longer. The personalities seem to be gelling, and look, we're all just nice people, I guess.
We all just get along.
We get along, yeah.
Yeah.
We're not out to shoot anybody.
So there's going to be no shootings today? Because that would
No.
up the ratings if
No.
someone shot somebody today.
You know, it's funny. Nino was telling me how disgusted he is with Grace and Jill, but
Yeah,
I guess that wasn't
really?
supposed to come out. Yeah.
Really?
It's already
That's
started.
fantastic.
Right.
Hey, Evan, we have 3 great vocalists here. Can they sing Happy Birthday to Hung?
Sure. This is for my wife.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, 2, 3.
Happy birthday
to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear
Hung. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. So why don't you set up the first video?
Okay, the first video is by the artist. His name is Fortunato.
I think it's Marty is the first one, Joe. Marty and Taylor is the first
Okay,
one.
take 2.
Okay. Live TV.
Live TV. I'm thinking of the album here. No, the first video is to be featured is by Marty Penrose and Taylor Penrose, and that's father and daughter doing a song called Getting It Together. On the album, Marty does a track called Then the Light Came On, which is a duet with myself, and Taylor does 2 other tracks called Believe and Gives Me Everything. But on this particular track, we've put father and daughter together, and like a lot of the great family acts, there's something about voices blending that happens like with the Everly Brothers and those
And,
people
and,
like
sin,
that.
and since your daughter and son-in-law are on the album as well, what's it like working in that situation? I mean, are they willing to listen to a more experienced artist? I mean, how does that work?
It's worked really well. Actually, all the artists and singers have given me shown me such respect. I mean, from a songwriting and production point of view, whatever I ask them to attempt and try,
Yeah.
they give it a go. And I can only take it to a point. Once they add their flavour to it, then I think 99% of the time we've got it right. It's been amazing to hear them walk away and say, okay, what do you want me to do? How do you want me to sing it? And I'll say, just try it like this. And off they go, and they come back, and we're in the booth listening through the monitors. And sometimes I say, you know, that's not exactly what I was hearing, but geez, that's good. We're keeping that, you know.
All right.
And who we talked to the other day, someone was saying a lot of things happen by accident. A lot of sounds, a lot of guitar riffs that you love on those records, or drum sounds, or little vocal bits, usually happen by accident. There's a line in Nino's song when just before the saxophones come in where he says, "Can you do it?
Let's get sexy.
Let's get sexy."
There you go.
And people just wait for that line, and you know, big smile on the face after it. So, answer the question. Everyone's been fantastic and really productive, and they contribute. They contribute greatly. Yeah.
Awesome. So let's check out the video, folks.
You used to spend all of my money and keep me up late every night. I used to walk home thinking maybe another night. You took all my money, but darling, you treated me right. We used to go cruising on Sundays and meet at the dance Friday nights. We used to hang out at the juke joint every night. You took all my money, but darling, you treated me right. Get it together, together, get it. Get it together, together, get it. 'Cause you can depend upon, I can depend upon, we can depend upon getting it together. You can depend upon, I can depend upon, we can depend upon getting it together. Get it together. Get it together. Get it together. Together, get it. Get it together. Together, get it. 'Cause you can depend upon, I can depend upon, we can depend upon getting it together. You can depend upon, I can depend upon, we can depend upon getting it together. 'Cause you can depend upon, I can depend upon, we can depend upon getting it together.
All right.
Great video.
And great music is timeless. That has a timeless sound. That could have been recorded in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. It's timeless. I mean, beautiful sound.
Thanks, Evan. Thank you. I'll just say quickly, speaking to someone about this the other day, you know, the classic songs, they never go away. They live forever.
Oh, yeah.
And but there's a lot of new music now that is a little, you know, it's a different scene altogether with music. And someone was listening to the Initiative CD and said, you know, it's like hearing a lost Supreme song or a lost
Exactly.
Well, these-
Like from the Motown vaults.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah, yeah.
or a lost Sinatra song. and but it's a brand new song. And that's what I think is also part of the appeal of the initiative. That and I heard there's some stations, internet radio stations coming up in America where they're playing the old hits, but they're putting in new songs which are in the genre of those classic hits. So rather than just having to hear the same song,
Sure.
well, here's something new. And Nina had a great honour with a radio station in Johannesburg. Hello, George, if you're watching. Played his song on the radio, and listeners rang in and said, "When did Sinatra record that song?"
Wow.
Which is a
Yeah.
real compliment.
Fantastic.
That's
Yeah.
high praise indeed.
Too much pressure.
Oh, Frank.
Too much pressure.
I just wanted to briefly say something. We talk very often on the show about ageism. We have artists all ages from, 21 to, 60s or whatever on this show. And today what we have sitting here are artists who are not kids. And Steve just started a radio and TV career late in life. I got married at 49. So it's never too late to do anything. What's your take on that?
Well, it's never too late. I look for myself. I'm 47 and I have 5 beautiful children. And for me, it's only a number. So anything's possible in life. And I believe if you really believe in what you're doing and you're passionate, go for it. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what age.
If someone told you a year ago you'd be sitting on New York TV, would you have believed
No,
it?
I would not have believed it. Not at all.
Strange
Not at all.
things happen when you're out there doing quality work.
That's
and
correct.
Promoting and
That's
getting
right.
the word out and networking.
And it's important. It's important to promote.
Yeah,
It is
I-
very important.
I think a lot of artists do not grasp that a lot of this is networking and relentless promotion. That's, it's almost easy to create the art in a sense because as great artists, you create art. But I think it's much harder to get the word out. I think that's always the challenge.
That's correct.
What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you were just saying, it's the promotion is just as important as, maybe that's not 50-50, but you're not going to be heard unless you really know how to promote and promote yourself because
Yeah, it's like
if you're
if
not
the
going to
tree-
promote yourself, people
If
aren't
a
going
tree
to hear
falls in
you.
the forest and nobody hears it, you could have the greatest CD in the world, but people have to hear it. It has to get out there.
Exactly.
And you have a tremendous, tremendous product.
Thank you.
I hate to use the word product, but
but-
tremendous art.
And you know, Evan, every song we're hearing today was written by Joe
Wow.
and the co-writer here and there, Peter Eck.
I
basically.
thought you wrote all these songs, Steve.
Well, okay, Joe Manzik is my pseudonym.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll give everyone a plug. Myself and Peter Rector from Australia co-wrote 4 songs on the album, and 1 song I wrote with my son Matthew. So pretty much, it's all original.
And Joe, you were in a band in the 80s with Peter.
Yeah, I was a band called The Secrets in the 80s.
Yeah.
That we tried to, without the internet and without all the technology back then, trying to promote. We'd put things in an envelope and a postage stamp and send it off, and we would never know if it ever arrived.
I want you to know, I worked at a 50,000 watt New York station for 16 years, WBAI FM, and you would have literally mountains of CDs.
CDs, yeah.
And you know how you judge them? By how they looked. If it looked professional, if it looked slick, it would go to the top. If it looked amateurish, if it looked like a kid did it in the basement, it would go to the bottom. And that is not the way to judge music, because some of the amateurish ones could have had much better music, but you didn't get to hear it till 9 months later because it was at the bottom of the stack.
Yeah.
So, all of this stuff is it's difficult. It's difficult to get the art out there, but it can be done. I know a lot of New York hip-hop artists, they struggle here, and then they go to Europe, and they're playing in front of 2,000 people because they've gotten their art out over the internet. So, not to belabor a point, why don't we go to the next video? What's the next one?
Fortunato now.
Thank you, Steve.
Sure.
Fortunato Isgrove from Brisbane, Australia. I met Fortunato at a gig, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. And he came out of the crowd again, asked if he could do a song, and which was fantastic. He had a nice voice, and well, look, at my gigs, everyone wants to get up and do a song, and you get to the point where you're very polite, and actually I shouldn't give this away, they'll all know. So anyway, it's nice to have them up and sing in, but as I said, occasionally you get someone, geez, this guy can sing, or Grace can.
So he's got a very strong, powerful voice, and basically he went back home to Brisbane and recorded an album and sent it back to me and said, would you like to have a listen? And I heard it. I said, I remember that guy, he had a good voice. Cut a long story short, he asked if he could sing one of my songs, and he did. He flew down to Melbourne and we recorded it, and it was fantastic, and eventually it led to the point where he was one of the artists included on the Initiative album. So he's probably one of the not the oldest, only a young man, the oldest artist on the album that I started working with. The song's called Every Little Thing, and it was written by myself and Peter Rector from The Secrets.
All right, let's check it out, folks.
Every little thing you do to me, girl. Every little thing you say to me, girl. Every little thing. I love every little thing you do to me, girl. Every little thing you say to me, girl. Every little thing. I can't give you anything but love, love. You're the one that I've been thinking of, love. 'Cause I love every little thing you do to me, girl. Every little thing you say to me, girl. Every little thing. Please come over and hold me tight. Kiss me, darling. Hold me, hold me. When you're near me, it feels so right. I'm in love with you. Oh, 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 oh. 'Cause I love every little thing you do to me, girl. Every little thing you say to me, girl. Every little thing. Please come over and hold me tight. Kiss me, darling. Hold me, hold me. When you're near me, it feels so right. I'm in love with you. Oh, oh, 'cause I love every little thing you do to me, girl. Every little thing you say to me, girl. Every little thing. Every little thing. Oh, every little thing. Every little
All right. And we still have one final video before we go to commercial, and this is your daughter and son-in-law. Give us a 10-second intro.
Natalie and Zachary Wilkes, they sing a song called Can't Get Your Face Off My Mind. Nino can't get the song out of his head. He doesn't sleep at night. But
All right.
song that I co-wrote with my son Matthew. It's a real family affair. It's it's a nice catchy. It's a young song. It's a feel-good song.
All right, we're going to check it out right now.
No, I can't get your face off my mind. Look at me, it took my life by surprise. Hit my heart, changed my pace, left me dreaming in a daze. 'Cause I can't get your face surprise. And my heart changed my pace, left me dreaming in a daze. 'Cause I can't get your face off my mind. No, I can't get your face off my mind. 'Cause I can't get your face off my mind. No, I can't get your face off my mind.
Every little thing you do to me, girl.
Anymore.
Get it together like you do.
Are you planning an event and want to include entertainment, but you're not sure where to turn? Act1Entertainment.net has provided over 1,500 events with quality, affordable live entertainment at private parties, corporate affairs, festivals, bike rallies, and more. Act 1 will fit into your budget. They're friendly, reliable, and do all the legwork for you. They take all major credit cards. Log on to Act1Entertainment.net for a free, no-obligation price quote or call 631-758-3505 for a brochure. You'll be happy you did.
I'm Tommy Marr. I'm down in St. Bart's having a good time. A lot of people at this time, they like to go have a little cocktail. But you know what I do? I'm going to watch MadhouseTV.com. You got that right.
You know you already want a Toyota, but when you want more from your Toyota store, you want Smithtown Toyota, where every Toyota comes with Smithtown Toyota's Toyota for Life program, giving you lifetime New York State inspections, lifetime 10% discounts on all parts and service, 2 years of complimentary oil changes, 2 years of scheduled maintenance, and more, all at no cost to you, plus low clear-out deals on every Toyota in stock. Get more from your Toyota store. Hurry to Smithtown Toyota.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are joined by my longtime buddy, John Shea, your comedy name.
That's right.
As opposed to John Shane, your wrestling name.
Yes, that's true, Evan.
We go back, what, 20 years?
At least.
At least.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
And tell us how you bridged from pro wrestling. You were smooth-talking heel manager to comedy.
Well, you know what? I did wrestling for about 15 years or so, and there just came a point where, you know, I didn't want to be that old guy in the dressing room that was just hanging on, you know, because you get to a point either you're going to, you know, break it to the big time or you're not. And I think I told you this story before. I had a chance with the WWE, and basically I was told that we don't use managers anymore, and I was like a Model T, which was great in its day, but we don't drive them anymore. And it's kind of like being a shortstop in baseball all your life, and then you knock on the major league door and they said, "Oh, we just eliminated the shortstop position."
That's right. That's
so I figured I always like to perform and be in front of people, so it just seemed like a natural progression to go into stand-up comedy. And as you know, Johnny Valiant, who we've talked about, kind of
Roddy
blazed the
Piper,
trail.
King Kong Bundy.
Oh yeah. So to me, it was just a logical move into that, you know. And I started doing some work. I took a class at a comedy club and started.
So let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Either you're funny or you're not funny.
Okay.
A class isn't going to do it in and of itself.
No, but there's a way to tell a joke.
Sure,
and you know,
sure.
the timing and all that. I mean, you just can't go up there and, you know, it's dangerous. You know.
Right.
So, but you know what? There's a lot of similarities, because when I'd cut a promo at a gym or something like that, and you reacted to something that went on in the crowd, or somebody yelled something out, or whatever, and the same things happens in comedy. If a bunch of drinks fall, or somebody comes out, or what, you got to react. You got to you got to be able to be quick on your feet, and that's a lot of the similarities. And dealing with unscrupulous people, and we met in the wrestling business. You see that in comedy too.
Club owners.
Yeah. But I have to say, to tell you the truth, I'm kind of liking the comedy a little bit better, because I don't wake up sore. You know what I mean?
That's right.
I don't wake up, wondering, what happened, whatever. But and it's a little bit better because I'm older now, so it seems to be a nice transition. We're doing pretty well with it too.
And what is it about pro wrestling where some of the great heels were so incredibly funny? Roddy Piper, John Tolis,
Bobby Heenan.
Bobby
Unbelievable.
Heenan,
Yeah.
Cornette. These guys were legitimately funny.
Yeah, you know what? It just, I've met, in wrestling, I've met so many guys that were just that could have been able to perform, and just the road trips with these guys and the stories that they tell, and when you get to hang out with them and you get to meet them, and I think golf is the only other sport like wrestling that you get to actually, perform with your heroes, the guys you don't get to perform with in baseball. You don't get to perform with guys you grew up watching, but in wrestling,
That's
you do.
right.
So when you're
That's
sharing dressing rooms with Nikolai Volkov,
Sure.
and Roddy Piper, and guys that you were like, it's pretty heady. And you learn, and you learn the stories and everything. I don't know why, it's just, I guess it's just the entertainer part of you, because everybody's got to have a little humor as a wrestler. I mean, you have to. I mean, you have to be able to. And I think to me, Bobby Heenan was the best at it, and that was probably the guy I stole the most from when it came to managing, as far as technique goes and everything like that.
So my question is, what is the line that you're crossing, let's say in wrestling as a heel manager, when you're ripping on the audience? You're doing comedy.
Yeah.
Like you could say, for example, first row ringside has the IQ of a glazed donut, and that's funny. But what happens when you target one person in particular? You're making fun of their weight or their appearance.
Well, I
Is
tried
that crossing the line?
I tried not to do that. When
Yeah.
if I tried to get heat, I'd try to, like, if I was doing a high school, I'd try to find out what that big rival was.
Sure.
And then say, if we were in Westdale High and that big rival was Eastdale, I said, I wish I was at a real high school like Eastdale. Or
Right.
anything just to get under their skin. I never really went after one individual person. But I do remember one night there was a guy, he was a dead ringer for Archie in the Archie comics. He had the red hair.
Yeah.
And and he used to come to every show. So we came in one week, and I picked up a comic book, and I walked up to him. I said, I was just reading your autobiography, and I threw it at him. So I mean, but again, the guys like that usually appreciate it, and later on he thanked me for it and all that, So you just try to be a little unique and try to pick out one or two things that you can do that just makes you stand out.
And what was some of the highlights as a heel wrestling manager, and what have been some of your highlights as a comedian?
I think my wrestling highlights, probably working the match, what I always think about the match with George the Animal Steele and Johnny Valiant.
Okay.
Because basically, I'm not giving away any secrets here, but wrestling, as it's predetermined, and when you're breaking into the business, when I was breaking in the early 90s, you'd plan everything out, the wrestlers would plan everything out, but the old school guys like Johnny and Steele, they didn't plan anything out.
Right.
So I introduced myself in the dressing room and say, hey, I'm working with you tonight. I go, you want to go over some of the stuff we're going to do? Like, what stuff?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I go, don't worry about it, kid, right? So I'm like, I'm getting nervous because I hadn't planned out a thing with these guys. So I was watching one of my friends wrestle, and they didn't see me, and then Valiant's talking to Steele, and he turns to him and he goes, just throw him to me. Say, you're the manager, you fight him. And I'm like, uh-oh, they're going to test me here. I'm going to get tested. And I had three choices. I could either run out of the building, or I could either say, guys, I'm not doing it, or I'm supposed to be trained and I gotta go out and do it. So we went out in front of an Elks Lodge crowd of about 8 to 850, and I'm out there and they're in the ring and they're not doing anything, but they're getting a lot of heat. So he hits Valiant. Valiant grabs me, throws me in the ring, and I run around. I run out. So they lock up again. Steele goes to Valiant, give him to me again, right?
Yeah.
Throws me in, Steele grabs me, throws me into the table, and then he brings me by the hair and he says, table. And I'm heading towards Ox Baker, who's doing it. And he throws me right on top of Ox. I take my bump, and we do the ending, and we do everything. And I went from like junior high to graduating high school in 15 minutes.
Yeah, right.
Because, and I went to George Steele afterwards, and I said, you could have told me. He goes, never. I've been in this business 40 years, and I never planned a thing. You went out and you did it. You didn't know it was coming, and you were great.
There
I'm
you
like,
go.
well, I kind of did know it was coming, Joe. I said, stop calling him Mr. Steele. I was calling him George after that. I said, no, but it worked out great. Now, that was a huge highlight because what happens is I've learned that the wrestling managers back then, there was a lot of guys that were posers, and they didn't want to be touched.
Right.
And what happens is the veterans would put them through these little tests. And then I kind of passed, so I never had. So when I worked with Snooker or King Kong Bundy or any guys in the future, I think the name got out that I could handle myself, and I was cool, and I never had any problems. It was kind of like a little initiation, but I passed and did well, and that was a highlight. And working with Roddy Piper and Larry Zbyszko, guys like that. Wrestling, I had a great run. I really did, and I was considered a top indie manager in the late '90s, early 2000s, And it was, I think, a pretty successful career. I mean, like I said, I would have liked to have had that one crack at the big time. That would have been great. And it was funny, when I started comedy about 2006, 2007, if you came to me in 2008 and said, what would make you more nervous, walking out for a sold-out Madison Square Garden on live TV on Raw, or doing comedy in front of 20 people, I would have said comedy in front of 20 people.
Yeah.
Because what happens is, over time, as you start doing it, you just get better. But I think working in comedy, I think, working with guys like Bob Nelson and Richie Menavini, and I think the highlight for me is I worked the Long Island Comedy Festival at Westbury Music Fair, which I do security there, and to be on the stage with, that venue, Sinatra played there, The Who was
Judy
played
Garland.
there. I mean, this is one of the most famous venues on Long Island, and to play that, I've made it. I had my name on the dressing room.
There you go.
Awesome.
But you learn when you play these venues, and what you learn when you get to it's almost as important how you act off stage as you do on, and that's so important that you have to when you walk into these places, you have to you have to be like you've done it 100 times before. Because if you start bringing a ton of people backstage, and it just reeks of you're an amateur and you don't belong. So I brought nobody back. I said, I'll meet you all in the lobby later, what I mean? And that was a huge highlight for me. That was a few years ago, and that was great. So, but it's been going really well.
So why don't we check out the art of John Shea in this video of a live comedy performance, folks. Enjoy.
There's two things I teach my kids living on Long Island. Hello? Did they not make an announcement about cell phones? Can I speak to the person? Can I do that? That happened to me at church, and my kids are and I'm like, and my kids are like, I'll call you back later. So I teach my kids two things: how to walk and how to swim. If you live on Long Island, you better know how to swim. And if there's a hurricane, you hear this evacuation program, forget it. You ever try to get out of traffic on Long Island on a Sunday? Forget it. You're going to have to swim to get off Long Island. That's it. Put on your scuba suit and jump in. That's how you get off this island. Because if you're stuck on the bridge on the other, forget it, you're dead. Now, true. Now, getting back to the wedding. So we had driven up to Oswego 6 hours. And if I got to hear that Barney tape one more time, forget it. And my son playing pranks along the way. We stop at a restaurant, he unscrews the salt and pepper shaker. So the next poor guy, unbelievable. A weekend with this, right? But what my son didn't understand was that he was seeing family members of my own that are masters at pranks. And he messed with my cousin Artie, and forget it. My son woke up the day of he was bothering Artie so much that Artie goes, "Sleep well, little John. Sleep well." John wakes up the morning of the wedding with a big A on his forehead. With Sharpie. I got a wedding to go to, and I got a kid with an A on his head. And I couldn't get mad at Artie because I would have done the same thing. I'm scrubbing up. He went to the wedding with a bandage on his head. My dad hit me. My dad. So my little girl Carrie's Flower Girl, right? Everybody knows Carrie. Everybody know Carrie, a little redhead. She's 8 years old. She was Flower Girl, all right? So here's the thing, right? I actually thought I had it good. Yeah, what's your name? John. All right, John. I thought I had it good, The wedding party picked her up the wedding's at 1, right? The limo picks her up at 8:15. I don't have to see her to the church. I'm great. I had a nice breakfast. I packed everything. Her dress, her shoes, everything. All done. I said, great. I'll sit in my seat. She'll come down the aisle. Everything will be perfect. No! The wedding limo pulls up. I go, John, you need it in the back. I go back. Carrie's wearing one shoe. I said, hey, Cesar Romero, give your sister back a shoe. And he goes, look at my head. You think I did anything since then? So I said to Carrie, I go, where's your other shoe? She goes, I don't know. Now the bride's flipping out. And I said, I said, do you have the shoe from the house to the limo? She goes, yes. I go, then what did you hop? So I said, forget about this. I took the shoes off and she went barefoot. We get outside for the pictures. My sister goes, where's the shoes? I'm like, shut up! It's a new trend in upstate, barefoot flower girls. It's all over. It's the rage. That's why I'm on edge today. That's why they're not here. Because my son still has the letter A on his forehead. And my daughter still can't find her shoe.
We are back. The art of John Shea.
Thank you.
And John, we were talking before, you're proud that you work clean.
Yeah.
And why is that?
Well, you know what, to tell you the truth, actually when you break into comedy, you got to do these open mics, and it's brutal. It's like a Thursday night at some bar somewhere at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and you do it in front of like 5 or 6 people, and it's really hard to see how well you're coming along because you don't know. Because working for other comics is very difficult when you're you don't know if it's good.
Sure.
And the only way you know stuff is good is if you just work it over time. So I've been only doing comedy about a year or so, and my sister got me into this place, Samantha's Comedy too, in East Northport, and it's a ministry, and she says, oh, you're great, you just got to work clean. So she started putting me on the shows every month. So, and then when you're doing it every month, and she said, if I bring it back every month, you got to be writing new stuff because we got a lot of the same crowd. So I'd be constantly writing new stuff, and I just pretty much just developed the clean act. And then I've learned working at Westbury, like I said, I've talked to a lot of comics like Richie Menavini and Don Rickles and guys like this that I've been able to watch and learn from. And they said, you work clean, you can work anywhere, and it's true. I mean, nothing against the comics that work blue, that's great, but you're limited. You can only really work the clubs unless you're really good and you can work theaters and stuff. But if you work clean, you can do anything. You do church groups, you do fundraisers and whatever. And
Cruise
and the whole
ships.
thing, and the whole thing is being able to find work. Why limit yourself?
Absolutely. And we share a mutual friend in Bobby Lombardi
Yes.
from the Doghouse,
Yes.
and we want to wish him well.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry I missed the tribute show. I wanted to be here for that. It's brought some of my old buddies, Lord Clarence McDougall and Chris Michaels and some of those guys. It was good to see them, And I wish Bobby the best because, in wrestling, there's of all the promoters I ever worked for in pro wrestling, there's only 2 I actually really respect and admire.
Wow,
Bobby,
grand total of 2.
And Bobby, and Bobby was one of them.
Wow.
Because most of them are just about the bottom line. They don't care about the boys. They want to line their pockets. And, it's a business. You understand that. But, you could be a human being, too. You know what I mean? And some of them don't quite qualify.
Don't qualify as human beings.
Well, I could mention some names, but I won't. But you know who I'm talking about.
Wow.
So,
wow.
But you know what? I left all that behind. You know what I mean? So it's
now
fine.
It's comedy. That's
now
good.
It's comedy, and there's some unscrupulous people there too. But luckily I've kind of avoided them. But I loved wrestling. I really did. I had a passion for it. But after a while, you gotta either put it aside and you gotta move on.
We're going to get your protege, Papa Don, on the show.
Yes,
He's
yes,
one
the
of
solution,
the top indie guys out there today.
Yeah.
He's tremendous.
You know what? I've been working with him since he broke in the business back in 90, 97, 98. And we had that great show at the Doghouse with the ladder match that's on YouTube.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm real happy because, granted, I never really made it big, but I like to have a small piece, Jay Lethal. I had a great feud with him. With his mother. Actually, we did an angle with his mom that was just
Homicide,
terrific.
Low Key, they've all made it.
And I've worked with all of them.
Yeah.
So a little piece of me, And if Jimmy makes it, if Papa Don makes it, and he's got a shot, he's got a legitimate
he's
shot.
Tremendous.
It would be like a little piece of me made it.
He's the perfect package. He looks the part. He's a tremendous technical wrestler. He's got charisma. He knows how to work the crowd. He's a total package.
Well, it's similar to him and Mike. You remember Mike Mondo?
Sure.
He still wrestles on the live wire. I got him when he was green as grass.
Right.
And basically I said, listen, I'll get the heat. I'll handle the promos. You just worry about the wrestling. And over time, as they developed, they would always say, thanks so much for letting me just worry about the wrestling when I first broke in, and you took care of all the heat and everything and all the stuff we needed to get done. And Jimmy was the same way. And Papa Don, I'm just so happy for him because he's doing really well.
He's going to make it. He's going to make it.
I hope, because then I can get tickets.
There you go. How's the comedy scene in Australia?
Yeah, some people are still laughing.
All right.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
You should do some stand-up. Yeah. He could handle it.
Yeah.
No, seriously, how are the clubs in Australia for comedy?
Well, just walking around the streets of New York since we've been here and seeing all the open mics and the venues happening at all hours of the
Oh,
night.
yeah.
Very similar down. There's a lot of open mic comedy, stand-up,
there is.
and the comedians are all, doing exactly the same thing. I think it's almost identical. And which, is a little bit different to the music because we don't have that. We can just pop in and get up and start singing. I mean, it exists, but it's more karaoke. But with the comedy stuff, there's a lot of guys that are doing it, and there's a lot of people that are interested. Comedy clubs, that was called in Melbourne?
Yes,
it's called the
the
Comedy
comic,
Club.
the comic lounge.
Comic Lounge, and it
Yep.
goes for 2 weeks straight, and every night there's a different person on, and people are buying tickets, and it's a night out.
Yeah, and I've opened for bands before, especially, I've done some work, I don't know, Andy Cooney, in the Irish.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
probably
yeah.
know. I did some opening, and opening for bands is always fun, you know what I mean? You got to kind of tiptoe around equipment, but other than that, I always had a great time, and, like I said, working with Westbury and talking to, a lot of people.
And
I always enjoy working
we
with.
have to wrap this segment up, so please, you have a big gig on the 15th?
Yeah, the Clean Comedy All-Stars, which I'm working with myself, my co-producer Stevie GB, Sarah Hughes, Mike Parenti, and Christian McCarran will be at McGuire's Comedy Club on November 15th. Special 3 o'clock show.
3 o'clock
So,
matinee
yes,
for
matinee
comedy. That's a
show.
great idea.
Well, like I said, a lot of people were going after, like the senior groups, and they don't like to drive at night. So, we're just trying to go after a market that's really not being catered to. People don't like to go to the clubs. People who don't like, pretty much so, senior groups and church groups and stuff like that. So this is kind of like our launch thing, November. But we're looking forward to it. So
15th.
hopefully, November 15th, we'll come out and see what happens.
Website, Facebook page for you?
Yeah, Facebook page, John K. Shea, so, we're working on a website and all that other
And
good
that's
stuff.
SHEA.
Right. Yeah, it was funny because when I was in wrestling, I was known as John the Short Thing Shane because my father said, please change your name. 'Cause if you're going to be out there being obnoxious and loud and all that, just, but luckily he doesn't think, when he was around, doesn't think comedy's that bad a thing, so I was able to use my real name. But
There
I
you
went
go.
from Shane to Shea back to my,
And Steve, as the 5th initiative, like the 5th Beatle, he's very proud of your CD.
I
Show
am.
it quickly.
Well, actually, Jeff Brown is the 5th. I'm 5A then.
Okay.
But yeah, guys, really, I can't tell you how great this is enough. But like we were saying before, it's like an old-fashioned album CD. There's a great booklet with everyone's picture. There's Grace, Fortunato, Nino's here somewhere. But everyone's in here, lyrics. It's just fantastic.
You know what I
So-
like about it, just from here, that you can read it. How many CDs I can't even read
Yeah.
the little
Right.
writing
Mhm.
anymore. You're like,
Right.
I need a, what is it, a microscope?
Magnifying glass,
With
yeah.
a magnifying glass to read the CD liner notes.
And the reason why there's no CD is because it's constantly in my car CD player. So that's where it is.
That's right.
And Amazon and iTunes, right, Joe?
For downloads, yes.
Yeah.
And finally, my book, Apartment 4, Be Like in Brooklyn, about the turbulent East Flatbush Brooklyn of the 60s and 70s. A real piece of New York history, folks. And when we come back, you're going to love this, a live set from our wonderful musicians from all the way around the world, from Australia, in just a moment, folks. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, my name is Dr. Tom Dow. We have a multidisciplinary practice in Melville and Ronkonkoma, New York, and we treat patients with many, many different conditions, from newborns through geriatric patients with numerous different techniques. There's a technique and a type of treatment for every class of patient. We have them all here. Here's my son Thomas, also a doctor of chiropractic, working on one of our patients' cervical spine. This patient has had chronic neck pain for many, many, many years, has been to a multitude of different practitioners, with little or no response. And with our specialized techniques, she has improved tremendously and continues to improve on a daily basis. We have two practices, one in Melville and one in Ronkonkoma, New York. We are a multidiscipline chiropractic office. What that means is we have chiropractors, massage therapists, acupuncturists, psychologists, all working as a team and a network of outside professionals such as orthopedists and neurologists that we work hand in hand with to help determine what your injuries are and the best way to treat your injuries. I have the great pleasure of having my son in practice with me. We work hand in hand, father and son, to give our patients the best care possible, and a staff which is loving, caring, and you'll never have to wait at all in our office for service. Many times patients come into our office and they have what's called a soft tissue injury. Soft tissue injuries are like scars inside your body. If you've ever been cut on the outside of your body, you get a scar. The same thing happens inside of your body to your muscles and ligaments. So our job is to determine where those are, stretch the muscles, adjust the vertebra back into their correct position, and then refortify the normal structure with exercise. That's what we do best, and I hope someday you'll come see us at one of our two offices. Thank you.
And before we hear from my favorite band besides the Beatles, I just want to introduce two great supporters also making the trip from Australia. We have Mirella and Aggie, and they've been so supportive of our show here and the initiative, so just wanted to let you guys meet them as well. And now it's a pleasure to introduce the great initiative. That's the initiative's fault.
You like me, and it's true. I like everything you do. You like me, and I like you. Could it be? Yes, it's true. I know every part of you. You know me, and I know you. You know me, and I know you. Yes, with all the things we do, indeed I do. Could it be? Yes, it's true. I love everything you do. You love me, and I love you. I do. Could it be? Yes, it's true. I love everything you do. You love me, and I love you. All of you.
This next song is called Survive.
I'll go first for this time, 'cause I need to tell you what's on my mind. Does it hurt? Do you hurt? Are you fine? Feel the need to succeed in this life that continues to challenge me. Do you learn? Does it burn in your mind? Do you want to make our love survive? Do you want to make our love survive? Next to you, I am true, holding on to what you say and do. But I heard from the pain I have inside. Won't you try to make our love survive?
Next song we're going to do is a song by the one and only Nino.
She won't talk to me. She won't walk with me. She won't laugh at me. She won't smile for me. And it's so sad, 'cause she's not with me anymore. She won't look at me. She won't fight with me. She won't sit with me. There's no hope for me. And it's so sad, 'cause she's not with me anymore. So I'm hoping she will realize that I'm still the same old guy that she met, oh, it seems so long ago. How can I make sure she knows that I miss her so, that I need her so? Won't you hear my plea? Babe, come home to me, 'cause I'm so sad, 'cause you're not with me anymore. Come on now, let's get sexy. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Ba-da-ba-ba-da. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-ba. Ba-da-ba. 'Cause it's so sad, 'cause she's
not with me anymore. So I'm hoping she will realize that I'm still the same old guy she met, oh, it seems so long ago. How can I make sure she knows that I miss her so, that I need her so? Won't you hear my plea? Babe, come home to me. I'm so sad, 'cause she's not with me anymore. She's not with me anymore. Thank you.
Just had my heart broken by you. No, love's just gone and made a fool of you. No, it's true. In my heart, yes, you're here in my heart. Yes, you're here in my heart. Here in my heart, yes, you're here in my heart. Yes, you're here in my heart. Here in my heart, yes, you're here in my heart. Yes, you're here in my heart. Here in my heart, yes, you're here in my heart. Yes, you're here in my heart. I've just had my heart broken by you. No, love's just gone and made a fool of you. No, it's true. Just had my heart broken by you. No, love's just gone and made a fool of you. No, it's true. No, it's true. It's true.
was the only one wearing the hat. Is Nino ready? I'm ready. He's ready. Okay. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. Where have all the good times gone? It's funny how it seems so long since I've seen you. Where did all those good times go? Walking with you down the road, or running to keep out the cold. Can't you see it? Or where did all those good times go?
Well, it's so nice to see your face. Don't think twice, 'cause it might erase. And it's so wild, it almost seems like a dream.
I never thought I'd let you go. Why I did, well, I don't know. Got me preaching. Where did all those good times go? Wow!
Ooh, and it's so nice to see your face. Don't think twice, 'cause it might erase. And it's so wild, it almost seems like a dream.
Funny, but it's time to go. And I say you to say hello.
'Cause I missed you since I left. It's good times go.
Whoa. Yes, I've missed you.
'Cause I missed you
Since I let these good times go. Thank you very much. This is our last song for the set. It's the last track off the album. It's called Like You Do. And feel free to join in at the end on the Ooh Ba Ba Doos. Is that right? So you've got your way, and I've got mine. There's nothing we can do to change each other's minds. Started long ago, next thing you knew, you loving me, and I was loving you. And I don't know why I fell in love with you, 'cause you hurt me and you made me feel so blue. But I never in my life met someone make me feel like you do. Why don't you leave me alone? Just walk away. Don't you come back, leave me to pray. I'm only down, you left me broken inside. Hey, do you feel it too? Something I just can't hide. And just as I start getting over you, well, you're back to doing the crazy things you do. But I never in my life met someone make me feel like you do. And just as I start getting over you, well, you're back to doing the crazy things you do. But I never in my life met someone make me feel like you do. Getting over you.
Joe Mandica, Grace Marino, Nino Bizignano. Now listen, guys, we have a little time left. Is it possible, can we hear a little bit of Grace's new song? I know this is putting you guys on the spot.
Anything's possible.
All right, well, let's give it a shot.
You ready for it?
I'm ready.
Okay, I'm
Certainly.
not.
You're not?
She's always ready.
Always ready.
She's always ready.
Don't say it's gone. Don't you say it's gone. Don't say it's gone. Gone away. Please say I'm wrong. Baby, say I'm wrong. No, don't say it's gone. Gone away. I want your loving, I need your loving, I want your loving right now. You left me alone, you left me all alone. Can't be alone today. I want to be strong, I wanna be so strong. Make me strong, don't make me pay. I want your loving, I want your loving, I want your loving right now. All alone, don't make me pay. Yeah, say it's gone, baby. Say I'm wrong. You left me all alone. Don't make me pay.
The initiative, John, Evan, come on up.